welcome to this month's Workamper Q&A webinar. I'm Jody Anderson-Duquette here with Luke Duquette, and we're with Workamper News, Workamper.com, and we're happy and excited to answer your questions today.
Yes, as I was saying previously when we were muted, I usually let Jody do these by herself. She does a great job, but she had been complaining about having to sit in a room and talk to herself for an hour, and had been begging me to come help do this. So we're going to see how this goes today. I'll probably not have a whole lot to say because Jody does such a good job answering questions. So, yeah, if you have any questions, feel free to chat them in. We've had some pre-submitted questions that we're going to go through. Start with a little introduction of what Workamping is and who Workamper News is, and that'll get us started. So.
Yeah, absolutely. So this is a live webinar. So those of you who are online live with us, you can go ahead and submit in questions or any comments that you have while we're doing the webinar today. If you're on a desktop, laptop, you should have a control panel there on your computer screen that you can type into, like a chat or questions section. If you're on a tablet or a smartphone, there should be that questions option down at the bottom that you can tap on to then type in your questions. If you are on that tablet or smartphone, you can go back and forth between our talking faces and our PowerPoint slides just by swiping on your screen. Yeah, it is pretty cool. So we are recording this today. This is a monthly webinar that we do for anyone who wants to learn more about Workamping. So you'll find the recordings of past Q&As on the Workamper News YouTube channel, as well as in the media library at workamper.com. And we'll continue to do these, so you're welcome to attend each month going forward as well. So just to give you guys a little bit of backstory, not all of you are probably members with us already. Some of you might be, but Workamper News created the term Workamping back in 1987. The two original founders of Workamper News saw the niche and wanted to start organizing the community and offering great opportunities for RVers everywhere. So we've been helping you guys ever since. My family purchased Workamper News in 2005, and so Luke and I have been working in this business together 12 years for you, I think 16 years for me. So we've known a lot of Workampers, a lot of employers, and we are RVers ourselves. We're now on our third RV. We've traveled in a fifth wheel, a Class C. We've done some Class A travels as well, even though it wasn't ours. And we now have a travel trailer, so we've done full-time, part-time RVing. So we've lived the lifestyle too and love it. It's really great. So yeah, we are, sorry. I gotta let him talk too.
No,
I'm just gonna steamroll this whole thing. Okay, so anyways, but just a little bit, if you're not familiar, workamper.com is our online home. And on our website and the resources we provide, we try to, we offer all kinds of things, right, Luke?
Of course we do, yes.
Yeah.
For many years we had a magazine. We're actually just about to stop production of that and go online only. So that's a big change for us, but if you've been with us for any length of time, you know we've been producing a magazine every 2 months for many, many years.
35.
So that's going to be a big change, but we also have job listings that we provide on our website and through email, and we have our online resume system that you can create a resume through and send it to employers, and employers can find you through that. We have tons of courses and videos and articles and helpful things on our website. So yeah. We also have the member map, so you can find each other and see where your friends are working right now. Yeah. I don't know, what else do we have on there?
Absolutely. Well, just our main focus is, and that's kind of one of the reasons we do webinars like these as well, is we know it's much easier to do something when you understand it and are confident in knowing what you're doing. So a lot of our focus is to provide you guys the resources and education so you know how this whole Workamping thing works, how you want to make it work for you, so that way you can then move forward and be more successful and have a more positive experience with this lifestyle. And some of you maybe are still just thinking about this for your future, so you definitely want to dig in and learn more about it, because maybe Workamping isn't going to be the right avenue for you, and that's fine. It's not for everybody. So we want to make sure we have as much information out there as possible to help you guys make the right decisions for yourselves. So yeah, not only with our website, workamper.com, but we also have a blog, goneworkamping.com. You can check out our podcast, Workamper Show, And we'll talk a little bit more about some of these things as we dig into the questions. So, all right, should we go ahead and move forward into the submitted questions that we have?
I think so, yes.
Yeah,
So,
yeah. So this
first,
is pretty much the basis question for everybody, right?
right,
Yeah.
how do I find a job?
Mm-hmm.
And that kind of expands into what kind of jobs are available, what's the best way to verify jobs and research employers, and what if I have no experience?
Absolutely. And one thing too that I noticed, Luke, sometimes folks kind of box in like what work camping is.
Sure, they definitely do.
Yeah. So
They
it's,
say,
yep.
it's working at a campground, living in your RV.
Yeah. And it's really more expansive than that. So the way we define it is that work camping is doing any kind of part-time or full-time work while living in an RV. It doesn't mean a specific compensation type or specific type of job or specific type of business entity that you're working for. And you're going to find the widest variety of opportunities available to work campers through our systems.
Totally. Yeah, and so just to expand on the definition a little bit more, for instance, give you an example, Jody and I were working for Workamper News when we got our fifth wheel, but we were living outside the office. So we were working in the office some, in the fifth wheel some. Sometimes we'd travel and we'd work for Workamper News, but we were mostly doing computer work online. So we were still work campers. We were living in our fifth wheel full time. Even if we'd been doing that part time, we would have still been work campers. So,
yeah, absolutely. You can really make this lifestyle what you want to be. And you don't, that's part of understanding and kind of evaluating for yourself before embarking on this lifestyle is, what are the kinds of things that you do want to do or don't want to do. So when you'll want to peruse through all of the different job listings that are out there to get a good idea of what some of these positions are. Sometimes the ads will be very clear on what the position involves, and other times it's a little more vague. And everywhere will be different too. So the outdoor hospitality industry, of course, is the largest kind of industry represented in our community. So you will see a lot of RV parks, campgrounds, day use areas. That could be state parks, county parks, Corps of Engineer parks, etc., represented amongst the help wanted ads. But there's also really cool stuff as well. There's, nonprofit animal refuges, lighthouses, look for docents, and there's travel centers, Bolin travel centers. They're, out in pretty remote areas of Arizona, New Mexico.
there's
Amusement parks, fulfillment centers,
river kayaking guides, boat taxi drivers, bus drivers. There's so many different jobs out there. I mean, as you know, the world is full of many different jobs and all kinds of different people and experiences. So technically, any business that wants to can hire a work camper, whether they have an RV site for trade out or not.
Yeah.
Maybe they just want someone to come in for a short period of time, and it just so happens that person lives in an RV. Doesn't really matter to them, as long as there's a place for the RV to go nearby. Some employers do trade out for sites because they have RV sites on their property. Some employers know that there's a campground down the street or a few miles away, and they'll have you stay there and come work for them. I mean, it just varies completely. So there's a question that came in. Do you guys help, or do you have a list of campgrounds looking for workers? So
sure.
I want to kind of point towards that direction
dig more
a little bit.
into that. Yeah.
So as we've alluded to here, job listings come from employers all over the country, and they are a wide variety of experiences and opportunities. So those job listings can come in at any time from any employer. We simply put those job listings out to our community. So we're not
an agency
or
like a placement service.
Right. We're not going to look at your specific details and say, oh, this job would be perfect for you. We're simply going to send the information out to you. So if that looks like an interesting job to you, you're going to then contact that employer based on the contact information that the employer has provided in their ad. So that's
yes.
Just put it simply, that's how that works.
Yeah. I'm not aware of any exact agencies that do placements exactly within the work camping community. Yeah. Because we want you guys to do, whatever you want to do, and we don't want to limit you guys at all. So when you make a resume in our system, you can send it to anyone out there that you want to apply to. They don't necessarily have to be employers that are utilizing Workamper News. With the advent of the internet, and especially with social media, resources for work camping have spread vastly across the internet. There's Facebook groups out there and some other, things you can Google and find. But, we still, after 35 years being the leader in this industry, again, we have the most job listings. They're much more organized and easier to sort and sort than you'll find anywhere else.
Search and sort.
Search and sort, sorted, one of those, all of those, both of those, yeah. And with our system too, so how Workamper News works, just a little bit more specifically, we're a membership organization. So Workampers, we do have some free resources available, but what makes us robust and keeps us going is the yearly memberships. So we have a minimal $47 a year Workamper Diamond membership, and then employers as well can become members, and they also pay for advertising. So one thing that you'll find with us that you won't find on the open, free to use stuff on the internet is all of our ads are reviewed and processed by our team, and the employers pay for the ads. So you are pretty much never going to run into any kind of spammer situation or pirate trying to steal your identity information. I know for a fact that that has occurred on other free resources that are out there. So you definitely want to be cautious when looking at job listings or posting your information on the open internet. Just be cautious about doing that just because you don't know who's lurking. But when you're utilizing our system, you are behind a login. And we've even had spammers come into our system. They've stolen someone else's credit card and they're trying to run an ad, and we put a stop to them. Because when things look fishy, we hold and we research before, letting those ads go out there. So I think that's another, you have some security when utilizing our system. So I did go ahead and pull up our website here. And just one other thing I want to mention real quick. This is the Workamper News YouTube channel. If you go to YouTube/Workamper, it should pull up for you, or just search Workamper News and you'll find it. We have a lot of different videos in here, but one most specifically that I wanted to show you guys is called 12 Steps to Finding a Workamping Job. And so this is me going take a little over an hour or so, going through the different steps to help you guys with what we recommend your steps be in finding a Workamping job. So I'll try not to go as thoroughly today because otherwise this webinar will really run amok. But I would recommend checking out that video when you have time, as that's going to more thoroughly go through the process of reviewing the job listings, reviewing employers, getting your resume, interviewing, and that kind of fun stuff. But Workamper.com, this is our online home. If you guys haven't seen it before, you can click on Find a Job or the Join link to join and get started. Once you're logged in, it takes you to our dashboard page with these orange buttons and rows and columns. These are kind of the main tools of your membership. So hotline jobs here on the top and online magazine, those are the two main avenues for reviewing job listings. So with the hotline ad page, it's super awesome. All the ads that you see here were posted within the last 14 days, so you know they are current and accurate. Also, we have our employers answer some specific questions. So when you're looking at our job listings, you will always know like the state location. You'll know if an RV site is provided, if solos are considered or not considered, compensation types, when the job starts, etc. You're not going to find this anywhere else. We wanted to make it super easy for you guys to be able to narrow down to the job listings that are more likely going to be a match for you. So those different kind of fields, you can use the search criteria up here at the top of the page, plug in, your preferences, and then search to find those job listings that are, going to be more likely a match for you. And with our daily hotline, not only are they posted on our website, we do send them out via email. So our Diamond and Platinum members, if you guys are like, hey, I really want to find a job in Texas, you can actually go turn on job alerts for the state of Texas. So every time we get a new ad for Texas, we will email that full ad text right to your email inbox. You don't even have to go to a website to look for it. It'll come right to your email inbox, and you'll be among the first to know about it, which can come in handy this time of year, especially when folks are looking for those winter jobs. As paid jobs, like jobs where you are paid for every hour worked and get an RV site, are pretty slim pickings in the winter months in the South, just because there's such popularity. A lot of RVers want to be in the South in the winter months, so those jobs can be a little harder to find. So sometimes it is kind of, you want to get in there as quick as you can, kind of thing. So yeah. Anyway, so that's just, yeah, there's so much here to explain, you guys. I'm sorry, we really could dig into it so much. But,
You just pulled up the online magazine archive. So as we were saying, we've done a magazine every two months for the last 35 years.
Yeah. We don't have all of those issues online though.
But we do have a lot of them.
There's like 90.
I think they go back to 2009 or something when we first started putting them online.
Yeah.
So, but you can open up them by just clicking on it. You have to be a logged in paid member to access these, but it just opens up the PDF version of the magazine. So you can scroll through, and each magazine has articles about the RVing and work camping lifestyle, as well as, let me close this little pop-up here, as well as job listings. This was the special core issue. So these are specific to Corps of Engineers right here. And then as we get a little farther, we'll
keep going,
we'll go through the different core things. Here's some more articles.
We're almost there, I promise.
And then more job listings are coming. So much scrolling.
There we go.
There we go.
We found them.
So now we're into some actual work camping job listings in the magazine. We list them out by state, so Alabama, Alaska, Arizona. If there's not an ad for a state, it won't be listed here. So if there hadn't been in Alaska, there wouldn't have been in Alaska there. If it was, so it's there. So So yeah, definitely check out the magazines online for lots of other opportunities. Just because, I mean, as we've said, employers, they run ads with us. Those ads, either they're going to be in the magazine or they're going to be on our website. They don't necessarily put them in both places. And that's actually one of the reasons why we've decided to get rid of the magazine after all these years, is because we're trying to get all the jobs in one place, which will be on the website. They will also go out by email, but you can always go very easily to the website to find those job listings. But the point is, the online ones don't run forever. These printed ones, they're out there forever. So it's definitely a great resource to go back. I mean, this right here, the online magazine archive, is the largest resource of work camping jobs on the internet. So if you have the time to sit down and open up those PDFs and look through, you can find many a job all over the country. So,
and lots of our employers have been with us for even 20 years or more. So even if they're not actively advertising right now, but you read an ad that's maybe from a while ago and you're like, oh, that sounds perfect. You know, I would definitely contact them just to see if they have any openings now or maybe in the future. If it sounds right for you, I wouldn't hesitate to do that. And then we have some employers who never advertise. Maybe they're just seeking a smaller number of work campers or just have a few holes in their team to fill. So what they'll do is they'll just search our work camper resume database and individually contact work campers themselves. So if you do want to open yourself up to the widest variety of opportunities, you want to be sure to review the job listings and get that resume created and have it out there working for you. So this is just our resume builder tool. It takes you step by step very easily through building a work camping resume. A work camping resume doesn't have to be as robust as a professional resume that maybe you've had before with your, kind of career life. It can be kind of pared down and a little more simple. There's two of you, if you're a team, a couple, partners, two family members, two friends traveling together, whatever. If both of you guys are applying to work for a job, you can both put your information on one resume and send that out together. So you can use our resume builder to step-by-step put your resume together, and then it compiles all of that data into a nice format for you. You can even embed a video that you put on your YouTube channel if you want to go on your resume. So this is, what it would look like for employers searching the database. They'd be able to pull up your resume, see your contact information, see how awesome you are, and then decide if they want to reach out to you or not. And you also can send out your resume as well. Also in the builder on the right, once it reloads here and goes back to the page, you can print out your resume, you can email your resume to anyone you want, and you can also make it into a PDF file if you're doing like an online application process. So if this whole resume making thing sounds like a total pain in the then our resume builder is the perfect thing for you. Even in the sell you section, we have this little sample right here with some text in it that you could kind of model off of. To help you with the sell yourself part, where you just kind of, talk a little bit more about yourself. So those are kind of some good tools to utilize to get you started in this whole job finding process. But again, check out that video, 12 steps to finding a work camping job, and that's going to get you even more in depth on that kind of thing. So,
all right.
let's get back to our questions.
Briefly
Yeah,
comment on the best way to verify jobs and research employers.
yes.
So obviously, one good way that is through our service here is to click on, if you would, click on Workamper experience postings.
Yes.
If there are any Workamper experience postings, these are reviews by Workampers that have worked for these employers in the past. So if they have reviews, then their help wanted ads that go out on our hotline system will automatically show the link to their reviews. So that's the Workamper experience posts. You would have to be a member to access those, or to leave one yourself if you had worked for that employer. So that's a great way to research employers. Other things that I know you do, you check out like campground reviews if it's a campground, just to see what people have said about staying there as a paying guest. You know.
Yeah, Google reviews,
Google
Facebook reviews. If it is an entity that would be on like a Yelp or a TripAdvisor or something, those are going to be customer reviews mostly.
Right.
Sometimes there will be employee reviews in there.
Yeah.
If it's a larger entity, then you could look at maybe like Glassdoor.com. That's a system where employees, share about experience with employers. But, most specifically within the work camping realm, this Workamper experiences tool that we have, that's been compiling reviews since 2007. So there's definitely a lot. You can come in here, search on a specific company name, or like if we just plug in like Arizona, you can see. So when you're researching an employer, the employers that are discussed here in Workamper experiences might be members of ours, they might not be. A Workamper can share about any employer that they've worked for in the past.
Right.
Yeah.
And we try to keep this clean. Sometimes people will submit duplicate, slightly differently spelled company names.
Sure.
And so that's always fun to administrate. But
yeah,
that's one great spot for you to check out. And again, you can get there if the employer has listings, they'll be included in any ads they run. Otherwise, you can just go to the dashboard, click on Workamper experiences, and then search for those employers like Jody just showed there.
Yeah,
so that's a great way to review. Another thing that we suggest people do is open up Google Maps and just zoom in on the area and get a good feel for where your site might be, or what the business surroundings look like, and just what's in the area, and see how far away shopping is, and Walmart, and other grocery stores, whatever you're used to going to. If you need a Costco or a specific pharmacy or something, make sure you're checking out what's in the area. Some of these work camping jobs can be in a pretty remote area, so just definitely keep that in mind. That's usually something that will come up in the conversations with the employer. But, we don't advise you to just see a job and go. You need to be sure you're having a conversation with the hiring person, and make sure you get all your questions answered, and you should have a list of questions prepared.
And that employer should give you the time to get the answers to those questions.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. And typically,
there's so many things to say.
I know, right? That's why we have these other videos and stuff too.
Sure.
But oftentimes, you guys are going to be applying for positions anywhere from like 3 to 6 months before the start date of that job. A lot of Workampers like to plan ahead. So right now, most Workampers are, if they haven't already, are lining up their summer 2023 positions. You don't have to go that far ahead, but if you do, that's going to open you up to the widest, variety and amount of opportunities if you do kind of get an early start on things. But there's always last minute openings. If you're going through our hotline system right now, you can search on jobs that are starting immediately. So if you are like, okay, I'm ready to go, then, you can find those positions pretty easily too. So the timing, there is kind of some timing elements to these things as well. So
for sure.
But yeah, verifying jobs, researching employers, we kind of got that covered. We did have a attendee ask, is there a list of common questions to ask for newer Workampers? So if we go here to our article index, we have a few resources there to help you with compiling and putting that together. So we're going to go to job finding tools. So there's questions to ask an employer number 2, which means there's a question to ask an employer number 1. That's right here. And then another one, low overhead, or I should ask. This has some more ideas of questions to ask as well. So peruse through the different articles here in our article index, and that's going to give you some good ideas. We also have in our media library, which is where videos are housed. If we go down to the Workamper training section, I think is what I'm looking for, or you're going to scroll down, you guys. We have the 12 steps to finding a job here as well, but you can also, I would listen to interviewing for Workamping jobs. That's going to be a good one to prepare you for that. And then also go ahead and listen to all about work agreements. We don't really have time to get into work agreements now, so watch this video. But when you learn about work agreements and what can be included in a work agreement, that inadvertently then is helping you generate a list of questions that you should be asking as well.
Yeah.
And because not everybody's going to do it the same. Every campground, even though you're like, it's a campground, they're all going to do things differently. A maintenance position in one campground might be totally different than a maintenance position in another campground. Or even a rides position at one amusement park versus another. So you definitely want to make sure you're asking questions to each of them to get a good idea of what the expectations are going to be of you. So that way you know this is going to be for me or not going to be for me. So definitely those are a good resources just off the top of my head as far as the list of questions for an interviewing.
Another question that came in there was, have you ever come across a campground that's a scam, as in they're not paying the person or there's no hookups available? So
where the business itself is trying, I mean, I know
other
there's
than the one where the guy was totally fraudulently stole someone's credit card and was trying to run an ad to, I think, just
probably
steal
collect
people's information.
Yeah, they're more so going after your identity. They're not gonna like offer you a job for you to go to, and then that's a scam.
Yeah.
Well, okay. So maybe more so the question is, this is going back to asking all of those questions and getting as much information ahead of time. And there's absolutely been times, so, you know, you might interview with someone for XYZ employer and things are sounding great and all good. You go to that job and, oh, ownership has changed or management has changed. And they go, I'm sorry, who are you? What are you doing here? Like that kind of thing has happened.
Yeah.
So, I mean, there certainly are situations where changes are going to take place, or,
I wouldn't think that's common, but it has happened.
It's not common. Or, you know, the employer then is trying to break the agreement and make you work more hours than what you originally agreed to.
Sure.
So, you know, stuff like that, like this whole thing, you guys, revolves around people. And as you know, with people, some of them are pickles. And so there are certainly people that are looking to take advantage of people, whether it is purposeful or not purposeful, they just weren't educated. So that's why we have so much stuff for you guys, so you are for sure educated on, you know, what you should be expecting and kind of what you know to be fair and what you've learned to be fair. So that way, if an employer does present something to you, like maybe they, you know, want you to work 30 hours a week just in trade for their RV site, and maybe some other perks like laundry or something, and you do the math on that, and the wage works out to, like, the trade out value works out to be maybe somewhere like $5 or $6 an hour. Now, some Workampers will be like, I don't care, I want to be in that place doing that job, sounds great, I liked the person that I interviewed with, we're going to do it. While other people would be like, that's the most ridiculous thing I've ever heard, that's slave labor, no one should do that. So again, every Workamper has different needs, different desires. Employers are offering all sorts of different compensation packages that are out there. Some of them probably aren't very fair. Some of them are probably super, really awesome, super wonderful, more than fair, you know? So again, there is kind of some legwork that has to be done to help you guys ensure that it is going to be a positive experience for y'all.
Yeah.
And I wouldn't, I'm sorry, you go ahead. I just talked about it.
I was just going to say that so much of Workamping, for most Workampers, it's really about the destination, going to an area that's new and being able to experience all the fun things. Maybe there's national parks in the area, or it's a really big tourist city, or
near grandkids,
or they're near grandkids. So more often than not, it's not about the job per se. You're not going to Colorado because you want to clean bathrooms at a campground.
Yeah.
You're going to Colorado because you want to hike in the mountains and maybe enjoy some extracurricular activities or something. Who knows?
Yeah.
So yeah, it's not so much about the job specifically. So
It's really,
more work campers are willing to take a lower paying job potentially to go to an area they really want to go. But not saying that the jobs are all lower paying.
right.
But you're not going
right.
out there to become rich as a work camper. That's not
Yeah.
that's not going to happen. There are some positions that do pay really well though.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah. Sugar beet harvest pays really well. It's like $20 some an hour, and the RV site is provided, but
Yeah.
that's a really short-term gig.
And
you
sugar
know.
beet harvest, actually, that's express, isn't it?
Yes, yeah. So we did have a question come in. Do you have any contacts with employment services like Express? And we do. If we go to workamper.com/express, this is their featured employer page with us. So right now, Express hires for the sugar beet harvest that takes place in Minnesota, Montana, North Dakota, as well as Michigan. And that's going to start here in just a few days. So you may want to put that on for the future, or if you happen to be in those areas, you could probably still get on now. They also recently just added DigiKey, which is an electronics fulfillment center in Minnesota. So those are the three kind of dedicated with Express, and
Yeah.
great people
Mhm.
with this branch of Express Employment Professionals, just awesome. I'm not really aware of any other. I know there's different Express Employment Professional like operations in all different states and all around, but it's really just these three opportunities that we've seen mostly advertised in the work camping community. So
Yeah.
so workamper.com/express if you want to learn more. And again, these are a few of the more lucrative, but also physical. You're on your feet, moving around a lot more, longer days type of opportunities. So definitely keep that in mind.
Yeah. And as she was saying here, they're a featured employer with us. We have other featured employers as well that you can check out without having to be a paid logged in member. You can just go to workamper.com/FE.
Yes,
Or you can go
or
to
it's under the
Workamping.
work camping menu item, featured employers. There's a dashboard button as well. So
And you'll see a list of, I don't know, 20 or 30 different featured employers that we have right now. Hopefully more in the future. We are working on a new version of the website that will be out sometime in 2023. Hopefully with that, we'll get some more featured employers because it's going to be really awesome. So
super awesome.
So I think we can move on now that it's 11:35.
Well, this was kind of a big question.
It was 4 questions in one.
And let's hit on what if I have no experience, because I know a lot of you guys that registered are folks that are, haven't done this work camping thing before, and it might seem like, oh, well, how am I supposed to do this? But most of these jobs are entry-level positions, y'all. So, the employers aren't necessarily seeking specific experience. If you want to work at a campground office, if you haven't worked at a campground office before, most often they're going to train you. You likely have experience in your life that could apply to these positions. So, if you were a bank teller, you have a lot of customer service experience, you have money handling experience, organization, you were able to come to work on time, and I don't know, stuff like that.
The majority of the jobs either don't require experience or are willing to train. So, that's not always true. Sometimes someone's looking for a campground reservation specialist that knows how to use Campground Master specifically or something like that, and wants you to have experience doing that kind of thing. But
that'll typically be indicated in the ad as well.
Yeah, for the most part, they don't require any specific experience or, I mean, you have experience that probably relates to an outdoor hospitality type of job, which the majority of these are. So did you take care of your lawn? Did you do any landscaping around your house? Did you grocery shop for your family? And did you take care of the house and clean it? Or I mean, even at whatever your career might have been, you have experience from that would apply. So that's not really something to worry too much about.
Yeah, so when you're thinking about a list of skills, don't limit yourself to just thinking about what you did during your 9 to 5.
Yeah.
Think about your life as a whole. Did you do PTA? Did you do stuff at your church? What did you do with your kids? Were you a coach of their sports teams or whatever? You have leadership skills, stuff like that. Most employers are looking for people who are flexible, willing to be team players, willing to be honest about their abilities and maybe, what they're not so good at. And that's something to, know yourself. If you're someone who really doesn't enjoy just chit-chatting with strangers, don't apply and work in a campground setting where all you're basically doing is interacting with people. You need to go find a position, maybe like working in a fulfillment center or working behind the scenes in like Yellowstone general stores. They have stores all throughout Yellowstone. And there are people that work in the warehouse part, just put stuff on shelves and move things around. That's where you would want to be. Where if you're someone who, you know, could talk to anyone at any time, then you would do great as a cashier or, you know, campground host or whatever. So if you're very handy with your hands, then there are certainly going to be maintenance positions, all kinds of different stuff that's out there, you guys. So,
All right.
Yeah, don't get worried if you don't have specific experience
Let's
yet.
blow through some more questions that
All
were
right.
pre-submitted here before
Let's do
this
that.
hour sneaks
Yeah.
up on us.
Yeah.
All right, so how does the age of the Workamper affect him or her? We have Workampers of all ages. We have 20-somethings with kids that travel in a teardrop. We have 80, 90-year-olds that travel in giant Class A motorhomes. If you can do it, you can do it. I mean, it doesn't
Yeah.
matter what age you are. Most of
Yeah.
the jobs, I mean, they can't discriminate because of your age. So,
Mhm.
you know,
Unless you're too young. Like if you've got teenagers that are maybe under 16 or under 18, there will likely be, you know, some places that won't be able to hire young like that.
true. And then there are some campgrounds and RV parks that are 55 plus. So
Mhm.
you literally cannot work there or stay there if you're not 55 plus. I think sometimes they bend the rules for employees. But
Yeah, sometimes it's just, you know, you can't have children
Yeah.
and maybe like the age range, like you could work there if you're maybe above 30 or maybe above 40.
yeah, but
It's
there's
gonna
not
depend on the resort.
there's not a ton of those up for
No.
55 plus resorts, but they are out there.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
oftentimes those types of places have lots of amenities and they're really cool and
Yeah,
lots of fun. So,
yeah.
but anyway,
It's just about knowing yourself, like we talked about,
Yeah.
and knowing what you're capable of. Age is just a number.
Yeah.
You know, my favorite solo or camper, and I'm biased. Her name's Barbara.
you have a picture of it there.
No, she's not in this one.
Isn't she right there?
Oh, anyway, she was on the slide before.
Yeah.
Anyway, Barbara bought a travel trailer and started work camping at the age of 72. And she's still rocking, and she's
Yeah.
easily 82 by now,
Yeah.
and still taking different jobs. She just knows what she's physically capable of. She even did Amazon Camper Force 1 year and was like, nope, not doing that again.
Yeah.
So anyway, it really, these jobs are for everyone. I think maybe in the social media communities around work camping, we're seeing more young people posting, looking for jobs, etc., and maybe making people think that work campers are now only seeking jobs that pay for all hours work and provide an RV site and high wages and all this stuff. But what you see in social media is just a subset of the community. There's not, you know, more younger people use social media and are more comfortable posting and doing stuff like that. And as we know, they're typically the more opinionated of folks are the ones sharing their opinions and commenting on all the things on social media, where people oftentimes, and I'm not, this is just kind of some generalizations, you guys, obviously not everyone posting on social media is, you know, feisty, but
Those are just the
typically-
ones you have to deal with.
yeah, those are the ones that I tend to have to deal with. But anyway, so there's a lot of people, again, like we talked about, work camping can be anything. It can
Yeah.
be working just a few hours in trade for an RV site to offset your costs so you're not paying out of pocket. And then, you know, it's just a barter, it's non-monetary wages. Maybe you have other income already or you're debt free, you don't need to make a lot of money. Awesome, you know. And again, going back to the age thing, it doesn't matter. It's not like the paying jobs are only for younger people and the non-paying jobs are only for the retired people. Like, you guys don't have to put those kinds of labels on things. You just need to do what's right for you.
Yeah.
Bottom line.
Yep.
Okay. Next. Can I work camp for just part of the year?
Absolutely.
Sure.
Totally up to you, whatever you want to do. As we've said, there are employers that they run the gamut. I mean, there's
Yeah.
all kinds of opportunities, all kinds of timelines.
The shortest I've seen is like 4 days.
Really? 4
Yes,
days?
that was Colorado State Parks. One of their state parks was trying something new
Huh.
and offering a minimum of 4 days or more.
There are some
Yeah.
rare opportunities that are very short like that.
Yeah.
Majority of them are a season, maybe 3 months, maybe 6 months, probably at the most.
Mhm.
There are long-term jobs as well. Sometimes we see career type opportunities pop up here and there for different companies.
Yeah.
the majority of them are a season.
Yeah.
Usually like fall, winter,
April, May,
spring, summer.
April, May through September, October, and then the fall, winter season is kind of, September, October through April, May.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But it doesn't mean, I mean, even if an employer is looking for someone for 6 months, it doesn't mean they wouldn't necessarily hire you for free.
Yep.
If you talk to them and say, hey, I can work from this time to this time, but I really have to be in California to go to my son's graduation or something.
Yeah.
They might work with you. So
yeah,
you can definitely work. You can work camp for as much or as little of the year as you want, and as you can get lined up with employers. So.
And most of the positions that you're going to see advertised are going to be an on-location type job. There are some opportunities where the job itself requires travel. So Southern Cross, they're an entity where they hire work campers to like walk gas lines. Sometimes that's in towns and cities. Sometimes that's kind of out in open areas. So that job actually requires the work camper to move around in a certain area to get paid to do that. There are companies, like when you go to a campground and you check in and they give you the map and it has ads for local businesses. So the entities that produce those maps hire work campers to sell those ads that are in the map. So you could be the work camper that goes to a location, stays at that campground, goes around to the local businesses to sell the advertising for the campground maps and some other stuff. So there are certainly jobs where if you are someone who doesn't want to be necessarily in one place for longer periods of time, there are opportunities to help you move around. If you are looking for something where I just want to sit at my computer wherever I am, there's a couple of those amongst the work camping community, but for the most part, you still are going to find those via like the big sites like Indeed.com, FlexJobs.com, like they're built for advertising remote opportunities. So you're not going to see the remote stuff so much in the work camping community itself. So
yeah,
that's just kind of some more caveats.
Most people don't think about hiring RVers. Most big employers around the country, they're not familiar with the fact that there are work campers or that they could hire this mobile RV workforce. And I guess that's our fault. We should be doing better advertising to everyone about
we are a team of 6 keeping operations going. So maybe someday we'll be able to have more manpower, but for now.
Yeah. So.
Sorry, were you ready to move on?
Yeah.
Okay.
That was just work camping for just part-time in the year.
Yep.
If there are 2 people in an RV, but only one wants to apply for jobs, how does that work?
That's totally fine. This is scenarios where like maybe one person already has a remote job that they're taking with them on the road, or one of y'all's just like, I'm not working anymore. I don't want to. Okay, cool. But the other person still wants to because maybe you want to, get an RV site provided to you in the location you want to be in. And that's something we were talking about just yesterday with the kind of camping craze that's going on and stuff. It's getting harder and harder to find RV sites, especially if you just want to go out and be like, oh, I'll just find a site along the way. It's a little harder to do that, especially in the summer months and stuff.
Be spontaneous and just be like, oh, I'm just going to go travel to blah, blah, blah and figure it out as I go. Well, you might be staying in a lot of Walmart parking lots.
Yeah.
Or if you even can anymore. So. Yeah,
the reservations have just gone crazy. So work camping is a way to, if you do really want to be in a specific area, take a work camping job, especially, maybe volunteering at a state park where you're just working 12 to 25 hours a week, maybe, walking trails or walking the campground, just kind of picking up, cleaning things up, making sure everything's, tip top shape, etc. So, it's a good way to find an RV site in a place you want to be for a period of time.
For sure.
With the way that times are. So you may want to do that anyway, just to be able to find RV sites in the places you want to be.
But typically, let's say it's a campground or an RV park, they typically would like to have 2 people for one RV site, but that's not always going to happen.
Yeah.
Most of them will accept one RVer for one site, but they would prefer to have 2. Just, it makes sense. You only have to give up one website, one RV site to get a couple.
Yeah.
So it just depends on the employer. Some of them can afford to hire solos. Some of them can't. So don't hold it against them if they say they only want couples.
Yeah.
But we do list that in the ads.
Yes.
So.
Yes. And typically it's anywhere from 70 to 80% of the ads on the hotline page
that will consider solos.
So if you're perusing and clicking around other sites or something, and you're like, there's no jobs for solos. Come on. They're here. We can help you find those.
Yes.
But yeah, so, and one other caveat I had to that question. If you are traveling, like if it's just you that's going to be applying and there are other humans in your RV with you, you want to make sure to mention that in your resume. It doesn't have to be like the first thing at the top or whatever, but just as a little part in your resume, you know, if I'm the one looking for a job, I would be like, I'm looking for a Workamping position. I'm super awesome because blah, 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 blah. By the way, I travel with my husband, Luke. He's going to be in the RV with me all of the time. He's going to be doing remote work on his computer and won't bother anybody.
Just want to be upfront and let the employer know what your situation is. And
no surprises.
Yeah. If you have pets, you need to let them know about that as well.
Children. Yeah.
Whatever.
Even if they're just going to be with you for a while. Like I know some folks might like have their grandkids for the summer or one of their grandkids for the summer or something like that. So that's just information, especially if you are living on site at your work location, you're being provided the RV site. That's something, you know, you just want to make sure to communicate with the employer. You don't want any surprises. You don't want to get there and they say, oh, we don't, you know, kids aren't allowed here. It's not safe for them. Or we can't have that breed of dog. Our insurance won't let us have that breed of dog on site. You don't want to encounter any surprises after driving hundreds of miles to your camping job.
Yeah. All right. What kind of RV do I need to be a work camper?
Short answer is whatever RV is best for you.
Indeed.
Long answer is
whatever RV is best for you.
no.
There are some employers that do require maybe an RV that's less than 10 years old. That's not all that common. Most of them don't really care. But you are representing, I mean, if you're working for that employer and the RV site, and therefore your RV is highly visible because it's maybe close to the clubhouse or it's next to the office or whatever, they may care a little bit more about what your RV looks like. Oftentimes it's not a big deal. We have RVers that, work campers that just, of all sorts of things. I mean, people go out in teardrop little tiny campers behind a motorcycle. They go out in Class A motorhomes that are 45 feet long.
With trailers.
With trailers, yeah, with all kinds of fun toys. And we got toy haulers and then vans, tents. There are some employers that will accept you in a tent. That is less common. We even have employers that have housing available. Maybe they have an RV site that they have a RV on that they'll let you stay in, or they have dormitories. If it's like a national park, you can stay with kids from
foreign countries.
That could be fun.
I think they're still doing that. COVID changed that a little bit.
Conversion vans, Class Bs, Class Cs, travel trailers,
schoolies,
school buses. I mean, whatever.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter. It just depends on the employer. I mean, it's up to the employer to say, you know, what they will accept or will not accept. But there are definitely jobs available with all of those types of situations.
So oftentimes, if employers say they require, you know, a hard-sided RV or self-contained RV, some of these locations are in the wilderness, or even like just in Yellowstone or whatever. You might wake up one day and there's like buffalo sleeping outside your rig, or bears running around.
Grizzly bear walking through the campground.
So some of it is just for your safety. Also, you need to be able to handle varying weather conditions. You know, they don't want you to be too cold or too hot or drenched in rain. You know, they want you to be comfortable. Some of the employers don't have things like shower houses, bath houses, laundry facilities, kitchens to be utilized, etc. So sometimes you will need to be able to manage all the aspects of being human within your RV, you know, hygiene, meals, bathroom stuff, etc. So that's kind of more so kind of the baseline.
Typically,
for
it
a
is
lot
a
of it is
fully
just
self-contained RV with all of the fixings. You've got a way to cook, you've got a way to keep your food cold, you've got a way to shower, you've got a way to clean your clothes. You have everything self-contained within your own RV. That would be the typical situation, but there are these other ones that
can be more flexible.
Can be more flexible for sure.
So it's just going to depend, but you just need to be able to what you can handle physically, what works for your budget, and what you like.
All right, 8 minutes and we have
it's not
6 questions left.
I mean,
no, it's going to blow up.
This is our show.
11 o'clock, right?
This is my show, and I will say one thing.
All right.
Okay.
What kind of RV? Oh, that's the same question. How can Canadians work camp in the U.S.?
Oh, I was going to go back to our website on that. We have at workamper.com an FAQ. So if I scroll back up to the top, in the top right here, we're going to click on FAQ in the top right. I'm going to go to Workamper FAQ. And in this list of questions, we have, can Canadians and other non-US citizens work camp in the US? So yes, it's definitely possible. I wanted to point this out to you because there are links here to the different resources to connect you with the things that you're looking for. There are some options where you can volunteer. That's going to be like less paperwork. You don't necessarily have to get, you know, the work permit and all of that kind of fun stuff. So I think it's the U.S. Forest Service, maybe the National Park Service have some VIP programs, volunteer in parks, that you may be able to participate in. Nonprofits, maybe, I'm not, Red Cross, Habitat for Humanity, nonprofits, you may be able to work and volunteer with them without having to do, you know, the typical employment process. But we do have here the link to the Citizenship and Immigration Services website where you can get into getting that temporary work visa if you want to be employed by a for-profit business. So there are opportunities available, and I would definitely check out these links to get connected with those types of opportunities.
Yeah, and I guess I'm going to point out, since we're right here with that FAQ,
Yep.
the inverse, can Americans work in Canada? This one's a little more tricky.
Yeah, not as much anymore.
Not as much anymore. They enacted a lot of rules a few years back that said they have to try and hire
The
locally.
businesses have to.
Yeah, businesses in Canada have to try and hire people from Canada before trying to hire people from outside of Canada.
Like they have to prove that they can't find enough people locally to be able to bring on outsiders.
And I mean, when you're talking about a campground job, it's kind of hard to prove. You can't find somebody to come and clean bathrooms or take reservations. So.
Yeah, so we rarely see opportunities advertised for Canada anymore, like pretty much never.
We do get a few, but it's not.
Unfortunately.
Not a lot.
So sorry,
All right, so let's answer this one that came in here real quick.
Okay, sure.
It actually goes back to something we were talking about earlier. Paul asked, do you have a video or simulation on the reservation system that most campgrounds?
Campground reservation software.
I think there's more to the question. Can you click on it so we can like to use. Okay, it was just cutting off that little bit. All right, so there's
no one software anymore that is like, and there's even more now than there used to be. We have an article in here. Let me see if I can find it.
There are a few of the bigger ones, Campground Master, Campground Manager, I forget what they all are, but there are a few that have free trials of the software where you can either download their software to your computer and play around with it, or maybe it's an online type of reservation system where you can go and learn how it works through their website with like a demo version. But here's the article where we compiled multiples
of the software companies in one page so you can easily get to their website.
Yeah. So we don't have a video going through that, I don't think.
No, because there's so many different ones.
There are.
And we used to work more with like DigiRes and stuff, and we had some videos. And their software is constantly changing too. They're making updates and stuff to it all the time. Most of them probably. So with it changing, it would be hard for us to maintain all of that and stay up to date with it. So I would, go to one of them more specifically. But unfortunately, I can't necessarily say which one to use because there's so many now. But most of the time, you're going to be trained. If you're familiar with using a computer, like if you're comfortable, if you're someone who's like, well, I can check my email, but please don't ask me to click on anything else, then maybe doing reservations isn't going to be the gig for you. But if you're someone who's really comfortable navigating websites, you've used Microsoft programs, have some familiarity with kind of just how general things work, you're not scared. Well, if I click on something, I'm going to break it, so I'm not going to click on anything. If you kind of have a comfort factor with it, you're going to probably pick it up pretty quickly. And you could too, especially if you're applying for the position ahead of time and you're like, hey, you've agreed to the position, you're going to go to work for them. What reservation software am I going to be using? Let me go see if I can download a demo and I'll start looking through it before I come to work for you. That employer's going to be like, that would be great. How awesome are you? We made a good hire. Yeah. Totally. Showing initiative. It's good stuff.
Okay,
Good question, Paul.
yes.
So workamper.com, article index, getting started work camping, reservation software. So workamper.com, article index, it's in now. Okay, back to our questions.
All right, so how can I hear from Workampers who are already doing this? You can look at those Workamper experience postings that we talked about earlier. You can join the Workamper News Facebook group or other Facebook groups on Workamping and RVing. You can read articles in the, you can read articles in the online magazine archive of the old magazines, or if you're a current member, you can get the last issue here coming up in a month or two. You can check out the Workamper show. There's an excellent resource for hearing from others that are doing this now.
And for learning about jobs.
Great inspiration here. Yep, we do interviews with Workampers as well as employers here. We've been doing this about 3 years now.
3 years.
We've got almost 200 episodes, I think. Our host, his name is Greg Gerber. He's been in the RV industry for a long time. He's a great guy.
Yeah.
So
the podcast is really great. And so you can listen at workampershow.com. That's the website I have pulled up for you guys. Or if you use a podcast app that you like, then just search for the Workamper Show in your podcast app, and you'll be able to listen to the episodes there on Apple Podcasts, Google, and Android, and iHeartRadio, all the things, all the places.
Paul asks if we have a dedicated forum on workamper.com.
Not on our website, no.
We did for many years. With the last version of the website, we got rid of that, but we transitioned any Workamper experience postings that was on the forum into our new Workamper experience section. But we did get rid of the actual forums at that point.
Right. We moved to the Facebook platform because so many folks were already on Facebook anyway, and it was easier then to share video and photos and different things like that.
We did contemplate whether or not we wanted to put a forum on the new site. I don't think we're going to. It just takes a lot more time to administrate a whole nother thing like that. So,
so Workamping Today is our Facebook group that you're welcome to join. You can post questions in there and talk about the different aspects of work camping. And there's lots of folks in here to answer questions and help you with that. So, yeah.
All right. Anything else that?
The member map is one thing. So
good call. Good call.
We kind of made this member map many years ago. There's another website that's come along since then called ourvillage.com. That's of a similar premise here to our member map, but so in my opinion, you can kind of use the member map in two ways. If you want to just see if there are any work campers that are around your current location now to just connect with socially, whether you're new and want to ask them questions or just want to hang out and have a beer and, talk shop, you can, search your current location here to see if anyone's in your area. Also, if you're like, I'm considering working for XYZ employer in Kansas City, Missouri, you could scroll into that location in the map, see if any work campers have their pin there. If they do, contact them and say, hey, work camper Mike, do you happen to be working for XYZ employer? I'm considering going to work for them. What can you tell me about it?
Yeah.
So it's a research tool and kind of a social connection tool. So that's the member map tool at workamper.com.
Good call. That's a great way to hear from work campers who are already doing this.
That's right. Okay.
All right. What is the future looking like for work campers in relation to rising fuel costs and inflation? Will this become more regional as far as work campers traveling to jobs and employer plans?
Yeah.
So,
get out your crystal ball.
Right, as Steve always likes to say.
I know. So what we've seen with the work camper community, and 2008 recession and whatnot. I mean, there's always been crap going on in the world that keeps life interesting, right? So it's going to vary. Just like we talked about before.
Everybody's situation is different.
Yeah.
The employer situation is different. So some work campers maybe don't need to make money out there in the job. Maybe they only look for work for volunteer positions. So distance doesn't necessarily matter for them, how far they want to go. They might be willing to travel up to Alaska, and it might not be a problem for them. While others, maybe they can't go more than 300 miles away from their current location at a time because they don't have the means to do so. I mean, it just depends on everyone's unique situation. So I do think the you know, gas prices going up and inflation is.
I mean, that's not
definitely
helping.
It's not helping. It's definitely not helping.
It's not fun.
Yeah. We've.
But
Yeah.
it's just kind of the cost of the lifestyle. I mean, whether you're living in sticks and bricks or you're living the RV lifestyle, things are going to come up that's going to end up costing you more. That's just kind of the way that life goes. So it's up to you then. Do I want to make some adjustments in my day-to-day life to provide more income to this aspect? You know, so, okay, gas prices are higher. I still want to go so many hundreds of miles. So I'm gonna not go out to eat as many times a month. I'm maybe gonna turn off some of my streaming services. I'm maybe gonna not go shopping as often. Whatever, you know, you can do with your budget to make things work, it's all what you want to do. And if you don't want to do that, you're like, I just want to stay in one place, I'm not gonna pay that gas prices. Okay, that's fine. You know, that's kind of what we saw in the community earlier this summer when the gas prices really started to surge up. There were some people who were like, I have to cancel going to my summer job because I can't afford to go. And that's just what happened. And other people were like, it's not stopping me. This is our lifestyle. This is what we love to do. I made a commitment to this employer. I'm going to see it through. Some of them contacted the employer and said, look, we really want to keep this commitment to you, but we're really struggling on affording gas to get to your location. Some employers are offering travel bonuses. You know, hey, we'll spot you X number of bucks to get you here. So you're going to get here and we can have a great time, you know, at this work camping position. Some offer end of season bonuses. That's going to put a little money in your pocket to help you get to whatever your next destination is. If the employer isn't advertising that they offer that, but it would really be beneficial and help you fulfill that commitment, ask about it. You know, don't demand it, just ask if they would be able to provide that kind of thing for you. So that way you're able to fulfill that commitment or do that job for them, etc. So don't be afraid to ask. Don't be afraid to negotiate on the compensation. You don't know until you ask.
Yeah.
And as long as you're going about it in the right way, you know, it shouldn't be an abrasive, confrontational kind of conversation, you know. Some will be flexible and some won't. So yeah, you guys just got to do you, you know, and employers are, you know, as work campers, just with inflation and, you know, other work campers coming in and expecting more money than they used to, etc. Some some employers are paying attention, noticing that, and are increasing wages. Some employers increase their wage every single year. That's just what they do. Some maybe aren't able to. Again, it's just it's going to depend on the entity and the business type and how that business is doing. And some won't increase the wages just because they'll refuse to, because that's just the people that they are. I mean, it's just, you know, it takes all kinds. So yeah, it's up to you. There's always going to be folks who love this lifestyle and want to do it. There may be times in your life where you need to take a pause, come back to it later. And if nothing else, you know, go find a typical job. Just because you're living in an RV doesn't mean you have to use Workamper News and find a work camping job. You can do anything. You know, go to that location and start cold calling businesses, knocking on doors. Look at Craigslist or Facebook job listings or whatever businesses use now. I mean,
you'll technically still be a work camper if you're living in your RV, but you can do any job from anywhere in your RV if they'll let you. So.
Yeah. And as we've seen, you know, businesses everywhere are struggling to find people, tradesmen especially and stuff. So there's certainly a lot of job opportunities available all around the U.S. You know, more jobs than there are people taking them. So some employers who are struggling to find people, it is because of a compensation package. And so hopefully they will learn and see, oh, okay, well, I need to, you know, change what I'm doing in order to get more work campers, and some won't and will just struggle. So yeah. All right. Anyway, that's our 2 cents.
The last question that was submitted ahead of time was, how do I get reliable internet on the road? So
I was going to pull up a couple websites for that.
The short answer is, for us anyway, we just use the hotspots on our cell phones. If you have that ability, that's worked great for us. We have AT&T. We did at one point have a backup because we needed it for Workamper News to make sure that we had the ability to do things like this. We had a backup through Verizon. There's the hotspot box that we used a little. I think when we went
Yeah.
to, I mean, we did take a trip to Alaska, and
We just
almost
used our
the whole time
AT&T
AT&T
service.
was great.
I think there was a few days where we didn't have connection.
Yeah.
But in 3 months' time, to only have a few days where we didn't have service. Now we weren't. I think I did a couple webinars while we were up there, and I just made sure that that occurred, you know, in like Anchorage, kind of bigger cities that we knew we would have good service in. But if you are needing to do like streaming, like I know the person who posed this question is someone who needs to do a lot of webinars and like webcam meetings.
Sure.
So there certainly are, you know, people doing work that will need a higher speed of service.
And I'm gonna say, for those of you that don't have cell phone hotspots, you're gonna have a harder time. Campground Wi-Fi is
It
is
varies.
reliable in one way. It's not reliable. It's very slow most of the time. You've got a lot of people on that network, and
Yeah.
most of them are trying to stream Netflix and
Even though they're supposed
or
to.
watch YouTube, and
Yeah.
you know, there's no bandwidth, and so campground Wi-Fi does seem to suck.
I mean, it's improving a little bit. I mean, campgrounds are wising up some, especially like commercial RV parks are, you know, getting into gig systems and things like that. So it is getting better. You may have to then pay for it.
Right.
You know, it could be the free internet's good for email checking, but if you want to do more, you need to, you know, you'll have to pay for a package or whatnot. You're still probably not going to have that, you know, state parks, county parks, rec areas, you know, governmental campgrounds aren't going to provide Wi-Fi at all.
Cell phone hotspots definitely the better way to go.
Yeah.
You're on your own private network then. No one's sharing bandwidth with you except for maybe your spouse.
Sure. And the Starlink now, the
Starlink
satellite service, lots of our viewers are getting on board with that. I think there was a price increase or something this summer that some folks weren't super happy about, but lots of people are using the Starlink service now. But this website that I have pulled up here for you guys, it's rvmobileinternet.com. This is a couple, Chris and Cherie, they've traveled by Class A motorhome, boat, van. They've, you know, gone a lot of places in a lot of different ways, and they have tried all the internet services, and they get all the gadgets, the boosters and the who's a what's its and the thingamajiggers, and then they test them out, try them out, and then they write about it, make videos about it, etc. So in my opinion, this is the place to go to get an understanding of what's available out there and be able to then go through that to determine what's going to be best for your personal usage needs. I would definitely start there and go through their overview information and data plans, go through the different gear that's available. There's also technorv.com, and they're now offering PepWave cellular routers, PepWave routers. This is another avenue for getting internet. Anyway.
And they also offer data plans now too.
Yeah.
Through Verizon, I think, or Peplink, or maybe both.
Right.
So that's pretty cool.
Yeah. So you could check in with TechnoRV. They have really, really great customer service at TechnoRV. They offer a lot of different stuff: tire pressure monitoring systems, GPSs, soft starts for your air conditioner, air compressors, and then, you know, the boosters and some other stuff like that. So if you're in the market for those kinds of devices for your RV, I would definitely recommend purchasing at TechnoRV over maybe like an Amazon. The shipping's going to be as fast, but you have somebody to call if something's not going right, and you'd be like, hey, why is my stuff not working? And they're willing to help you out with getting it figured out. So we really like the folks over at TechnoRV. We've got a bunch of stuff from them. So those are the two resources I would connect you to, because unfortunately we haven't tried all of the things to be able to say like this one is better than that one and stuff like that. But luckily there are people who have. So check out those resources that are available.
All right, we did it.
We did
only
it.
11 minutes over an hour. Not too bad.
That's pretty good.
Not too
That's
bad.
pretty good, actually.
If anyone has any last minute questions, feel free to type them in here. We'll give you another minute here while Jody wraps up.
Yeah.
A minute. Who am I kidding? You're gonna talk for another 10 minutes.
No, it's just, this is what we love to do, you guys. Our passion is to help you guys live your travel dreams, and for employers to recruit work campers that feel more like family and, you know, help their operations run smoothly. So we're happy to help you with any questions. We are the only professional membership organization in the work camping world. Everything we do is geared towards helping you be successful. So feel free to reach out to us, whether you're a member or not. If you have questions or anything, dig into workamper.com. You can find us there in our online home. Email us, call us. We do have an office. We're open Monday through Fridays. You can talk with our peeps, but yeah.
Paul wants to know if there are any positions on the workamper.com.
Not at this time.
You want to come to Heber Springs for a while?
Right.
Maybe we can figure something out.
No, yeah. We have hired a few Workampers in the past. Version 2 of our website was built by a Workamper. We're now on version 3 of the site.
3.5 maybe.
Yeah, 3.5.
And we're working on 4.
Version 4
That's
is
hopefully
coming
going to come
next
out next year. So.
Yeah, so we have hired a few Workampers, but they do physically come. We really like having a work office environment. So we have a couple contractors that do some content creation for us, but
and our web development team is a whole different company that we contract with. But
yeah,
our staff, there are local folks that work here in the building with us. And,
it's fun.
Anyway, maybe someday, Paul.
Yeah.
Maybe.
Anyway, so yeah, check out workamper.com and contact us with any questions. Looks like we got everybody's questions answered. So good job, Lou.
Yay, good job, Jody.
Yay, we did good. All right, you guys, we'll have the recording available to you. Check out our YouTube channel for additional recordings and other questions that we've answered. And yeah, we wish you guys safe travels and hopefully happy work camping in your future. Thanks,
Bye-bye, everybody.